Dakota Johnson happy with new love, closing the door on her past with Chris Martin with a single statement. In the glamorous world of Hollywood, where relationships come and go as quickly as red carpet flashes, a star finding true peace after a breakup is always a matter of public curiosity. For Dakota Johnson, that journey seems to have reached a new chapter, a chapter of relief, maturity, and decisiveness. After years of a quiet relationship and subsequent separation from Chris Martin, the actress is believed to have found new happiness, completely closing the door on her past with a short but powerful statement: "There will be no more chances." A love story once admired by the public. Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin were once one of Hollywood's most special couples. Without fanfare or constant media attention, their relationship was like a quiet but enduring stream. On one side was an actress with a delicate beauty and strong personality, always keeping her distance from fame. On one side is the frontman of Coldplay, a man who has experienced a failed marriage and is always seeking a balance between music, family, and personal life. They met when neither of them were still impulsive. Dakota had already overcome the overwhelming shadow of 50 Shades of Grey and was gradually establishing herself as a nuanced actress. Chris Martin, after his failed marriage, had become more reserved and private. Their shared sensibilities drew them closer, despite the age difference and busy schedules. For many years, they rarely publicly displayed their affection. There were no passionate declarations of love in the media, no frequent appearances on the red carpet. Instead, there were occasional strolls, discreet trips, and cryptic answers when asked about each other. This very privacy led the public to believe it was a serious relationship, mature enough to last. Unnamed cracks. However, no relationship is completely immune to challenges. Over time, subtle differences began to emerge. Chris Martin's demanding touring schedule, the relentless creative pressure, and Dakota Johnson's increasing busyness with more experimental and personal film projects. Both are passionate individuals, but that very passion sometimes drove them apart. There were times when rumors of breakups and reconciliations constantly surfaced, but both Dakota and Chris chose to remain silent. This silence was both a way to protect their privacy and a sign that they didn't want their relationship to become a topic for public scrutiny. However, for discerning observers, prolonged silence can sometimes be an admission that things are no longer the same. When silence becomes the answer. After a long period of not appearing together, a close source revealed that Dakota Johnson had entered a phase of self-reflection. She focused more on her work, her family, and the small things that brought her peace. No more shared trips, no more signs of emotional connection. Her relationship with Chris Martin quietly came to an end. Notably, there were no accusations or drama. Neither publicly criticized the other, neither tried to prove the other right. This is a very Dakota Johnson kind of ending, quiet, discreet, and full of self-respect. A new lover and a sense of peace. Recently, Dakota Johnson is rumored to have been seen with a new man. Not a big name in the entertainment industry, not a star living in the spotlight. He, according to the few descriptions available, brings Dakota a sense of security and comfort, something she has shared as more important than any glamour. Recent appearances of Dakota reveal a different version of herself, gentler, more relaxed, and seemingly free from the burdens of the past. Her smile isn't a smile for the cameras, but a genuine smile of someone living true to their emotions. There will be no more chances, a statement that closes the chapter on the past. According to a close source, when asked about the possibility of rekindling her relationship with Chris Martin, Dakota Johnson simply replied, "There will be no more chances." Not bitter, not angry, and without regret. It's the statement of someone who has experienced enough heartbreak to understand that some relationships, no matter how beautiful, can never be rekindled. That statement quickly spread, not because of its dramatic nature, but because of its rare decisiveness in the world of showbiz, where many people always leave the door open to the past. For Dakota, that statement was like an affirmation to herself. She had chosen to move on, and she no longer wanted to turn back. Maturity after heartbreak. In her 30s, Dakota Johnson was no longer the young girl easily swept away by emotions. It was a temporary thing. What she's looking for now isn't just love, but companionship. She's shared in interviews that she cherishes relationships that provide a sense of security, where she can be herself without having to conform to others' expectations. Breaking up with Chris Martin, while a loss, was also an opportunity for Dakota to understand herself better. She learned to let go of things that no longer fit, learned not to cling just because of habits or fond memories. And most importantly, she learned to believe that happiness isn't something that has to be given, but something that comes naturally when it's already there. Chris Martin and his old show. As for Chris Martin, he continues his musical journey, still appearing on stage with emotionally charged songs. Fans of Coldplay easily recognize that his music still carries that familiar sadness, but it's a sadness that has been accepted, no longer broken. There are no signs that he and Dakota are still in contact or harboring hopes of a reunion. And perhaps, for both of them, that's for the best. A beautiful relationship doesn't necessarily have to end in marriage or a lifelong commitment. Sometimes, its value lies in what the two people have given each other during a certain period of their lives. When women choose themselves. Dakota Johnson's story is not just the love story of a Hollywood star. It reflects the light of many modern women, choosing themselves, choosing peace, choosing the next step because staying in something that is no longer suitable. The statement "there will be no more chances" is not a denial of the past, but an affirmation of the future. It shows that Dakota Johnson is strong enough to close the old door, not out of complaint, but because she knows what she deserves. A new chapter is unfolding. Currently, Dakota Johnson continues to pursue film projects that bear her personal mark, continuing to live a private life. The person by her side doesn't need to be someone perfect in the public eye. They just need to be someone who makes her feel like herself. Her love story with Chris Martin is now just an old chapter, beautiful, sad, and over. And in Dakota Johnson's life story, a new chapter is being written with gentler, yet more certain, words than ever before.